This video will contain spoilers not only for Bakemonogatari but also the rest of the Monogatari series, as I'll probably get into some foreshadowing. This video is split up into two different parts. The first part is like a traditional top 5, ranking the openings based on my personal opinion on each of the songs. The next part will be more of an overall ranking based on the visuals and how the song complements it. To be honest, with both parts it was a really difficult decision and it could have easily looked different, but this is what I came up with, so enjoy! Now, since the Monogatari series is heavily focused on the characters, and the openings switch based on the different character arcs, one of the major things that'll factor into my decision is how well the opening as a whole depicts that character of the specific arc. With that said, let's get started. At number 5 we have Stable Staple. Let's start with how the song complements Senju Ogahara as a character. Stable Stable starts off as a song telling a story about keeping people away and shutting in your feelings, which is very fitting for the character. At the end of the song there's also a segment about opening up to one specific person, this of course being Araragi. The song isn't that profoundly deep, but overall it fits well with the character. On the other hand, we have the visuals. Now, while Stable Stable does have some decent choreography with images switching to the sound of the beat and captivating images of real-life Japan with staplers over it, the opening doesn't do that much to showcase the character Senju Ogahara is. That is, until we get to the last 15 seconds of the opening, the only part of the opening where Senju Ogahara is actually present. She comes out from behind the building with an emotionless face, but that's not the interesting part. The interesting part comes into play when we get a close-up of Senju Ogahara's foot pushing against the ground. The apparition associated with Senju Ogahara is a crab god, and as we find out, after the crab took away the weight of her emotions, she was reduced to the weight of 5 kilograms. Now, if we assume the opening is linked to that, then we get the question, if most of her weight was taken away, why does she still have such a huge impact against the ground? Well, as I see it, the Senju Ogahara we see in the opening is not necessarily Senju Ogahara herself. Rather, it's the personification of her emotions, which also introduces a nice bit of symbolism. When Senju Ogahara's emotions clashed against the ground, against the world, the screen started flickering and the world became distorted. This could be referring to the moment when Senju Ogahara undoes the effect of the crab, and her emotions comes back to her, effectively distorting and changing the world she lived in under the influence of the crab. I'm probably looking way too much into this, but let's be honest, that's the fun part. At number 4 we have Ambivalent World. The opening starts off with the bright red basketball goal. Whenever the goal is in the shot, it's always a bright red color and easily visible, of course showing Kambadu's passion for basketball. Then we get a shot of Kambadu on a bench. She lets off sort of a sad expression, but followed by this she looks up at Senju Ogahara. However, the camera quickly switches to a shot of Araragi, leaving Kambadu to sit alone in the background. Now this shot alone depicts what the entire arc is. Senju Ogahara giving Araragi all her attention while Kambadu's in the background. We then get a shot of Kambadu sitting on the same bench, surrounded by numerous clones of herself. At that moment we see Kambadu blooming through a lily and going into a different space filled with lilies. The transition itself can be seen as a symbolism for how Kambadu is surrounded by the pressure from the rainy devil, and she herself goes through a transition to a point where she's more free, from both the shackles of the rainy devil and her feeling towards Senju Ogahara and Araragi. Now from this point on, the song itself becomes relevant. The overall theme of the song is to do the only thing she can always do, and that's run away. However, the song is also about leaping over a certain person and moving forward. In this case, it's probably talking about Senjo Gahara. This also coincides with the final shot of the opening, where Kanbari is closing in on Senjo Gahara. It comes to a point where she has to let her feelings out, this being the final confrontation of the Suruga Monkey arc when Senjo Gahara intervenes in the fight between Kanbaru and Araragi. Just as depicted in the opening, Senjo Gahara shuts down Kanbaru's romantic emotions, but by doing that, Senjo Gahara partially frees Kanbaru from the weight of her curse as well as her feelings. At number 3 we have Sugar Sweet Nightmare. This opening actually has a few different versions. The first one is categorized as a photographic version. This opening is mostly comprised of pictures of live-action Hanekawa in live-action places central to the story. And while this is a cool concept, it makes it hard for me to analyze, and makes me hard for me to connect the dots to Hanekawa's character. So I'm going to be focused mainly on the animated version, hence the second version. Already at the very first shot we see Hanekawa standing on the side of a bridge as if she's about to commit suicide. This entire opening does a great job of showing that Hanekawa is not the perfect class president and how much pain she's actually in. The song itself is also about the same subject, stating, and I quote, "I'm not as much of an angel as you think I am." However, the song also focuses on Hanekawa's feelings for Araragi, these two things of course being the most central pieces to both Hanekawa's character as well as the arc. For the first two shots of Hanekawa, her facial expression is not really sad, more just plain. However, from the third picture onwards she seems more and more sad, more and more frustrated. And that's when we get to the running scene. Hanekawa runs while we also see the cat spirit run along with her, and that's when a horde of arms explode out from the cat, holds her still and drags her backwards, stressing her more and more. At this point Hanekawa can't take it anymore and we fade to see the same shot as the beginning. However, this time it's not Hanekawa, the Sawari Nikko has taken her place, which as we all know is exactly what happens in the anime. There isn't that much deep symbolism from what I could find, but like I said earlier, a huge factor is how well they depict the character, and this opening overall does an immaculate job of showing Hanekawa's character. Also a fun thing to notice that in the final shot with the Sawari Nikko, even the Sawari Nikko itself looks sad. This is because it's taking a liking to Hanekawa as explained in Reccommendatori Kuro, so it doesn't like seeing Hanekawa in pain. At number 2 we have Kaerimichi. Starting off with the song fits very well with Hachikuji as well as the arc. The song is all about being lost and no matter which way you go, the outcome's the same, which is basically the situation Hachikuji is in. Araragi also plays a huge factor in this arc since it's a lot about Araragi not wanting to go home, but ultimately for me it's about how well it fits with Hachikuji. There's also a nice little nudge to the running gag with Hachikuji having trouble pronouncing words, when she switches up the letters of right and left in the same sentence, as she says migi hitari, then followed by higimidari. Already in the first part of the opening we get a shot of Hachikuji dancing while there's a picture of a snail in the background, already at the start showing the sign of her apparition, even though we don't know at first. From then on, the opening does a great job of showcasing Hachikuji's childlike, clumsy and energetic personality. That is, until we get to the part with Hachikuji walking down a street of rain. The scene quickly ends when the sun starts shining and she puts down her umbrella to once again show us a snail. While we don't know the significance of the snail the first time we watch, it's still a nice little detail. Next, we have the shot when Hachikuji is running through a partially empty space and finds a lost version of herself. In this instance, the Hachikuji who's lost is probably representing Hachikuji herself, while the one running through the space finding her is supposed to represent the nature of the apparition itself, trying to get itself and other people home, while ultimately just misleading them and leading them further into the vast space. Cue another snail shot. We also get a shot of Hachikuji standing confused in the middle of an intersection, which is ultimately the cause of her death. Overall, while the opening is very childlike and energetic, there's also a few sad things. There's also the point to make that the entire opening is filled with clones of Hachikuji herself. Now, the way I see it, Hachikuji can only be seen by a very small amount of people, so the opening is more or less referring to another childlike, but in this case, sad thing. and that's imaginary people. Basically, because she can't probably interact with a lot of people, she's stuck in a world with only herself. Then at number 1 we have Denai Circulation. Yes, I'm serious. This opening's way more than just a meme. And let me tell you why. As you know if you've watched Monogatari series second season, Nadeko is not really the innocent Imoto type that she's shown to be in the start. In reality, she's more akin to a yandere. And there are numerous shots of subtle foreshadowing and symbolism related to that in this opening, which is one of the reasons for it being number 1. Less than 5 seconds in, we already get the first clue. While she's normally cheerful in this opening, in this one shot, we see Nadeko staring emptily in front of her before noticing that someone's watching her, this being us. That's when she turns toward us and puts on her mask, her smile. Meanwhile, her shadow is behind her like a second person, in this instance probably symbolizing her true self behind her smile. Later she's lying down with a snack in her mouth. Now, this is a bit more far-fetched, but when the drop of the song comes, she breaks the snack in two, which could be a symbolism for how she herself and her fake personality breaks apart in the Nadeko Medusa arc. After the title sequence, we get a shot of Nadeko and Araragi walking beside each other. Araragi pays her no attention while Nadeko is curiously looking. This is mostly just showcasing Nadeko's unrequited love toward Araragi. Then there's the scene with her in the books. Now, this could be one of two things. Either it's showing how she tries to be a diligent student as she is the class president. Now, the more likely of the two is that this could be hinting at her love for drawing manga, which is also revealed in Monogatari second season. The next hinting at her yandere-like personality is at the very end of the song. She lets off a smile and, let's just say, it doesn't really look innocent. As I see it, it looks way more mischievous than it does innocent. The song, however, is mostly focused on her innocent side, as it's mostly talking about her love for Araragi and how glad she is that they met, with sentences such as "don't ever take your eyes off me," which could be taken either as a romantic gesture or a slightly more yandere-esque statement. If you like this sort of format, let me know if you want me to cover Nise Monogatari second season, or if you have a completely different opening you want me to cover. Anyway, that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, whatever you're feeling up to, and I'll see you on the next video.